As we keep with the spread look, we have Mingo, and it's gonna be a pick, and that's already the one and only we could have today. Tight end set, just one receiver. As I go, Robinson stretching to the outside, he breaks through the tacklers. Do we have anyone on the back end? It would appear no. It's 3rd and 5, essentially touchdown or bust, and what kind of coverage was that? Needs someone to open up. How about Chenault to the outside? It's gonna get picked. That is not what we needed. It's gonna be a pick 6, and you could wave goodbye to the X Factor dev boost. We're not being too greedy as it's a 3rd pick. Kyle Fuller making a heck of a play. And with that, Steve Smith Sr. has seen enough. In his breakout opportunity, Bryce Young gets benched. Max Duggan is out there. As we end up just scrambling here with Duggan, he's going to try to get to the end zone, weave, but down at the 1. As it's 1st and goal, we hand this one off. Chuba Hubbard can cap off the drive. Our best offensive drive has come when we brought in the practice squad quarterback. And what we do moving forward, as next week it is trade deadline day. As we loft this one up, it's Juwan Jennings who has the step on Martin, and he will keep it to the end zone. Though it's going to be for Jennings, it's a flat and it's a touchdown to end the game. Max Duggan greatly outplayed Bryce Young and Bryce Young's breakout opportunity. And I hope you guys enjoyed that new style of intro where we just take the clips from the previous game rather than me talking about it. But essentially, it was not a good game. Breakout opportunity for Young, and he didn't do a thing. We luckily saw some great play late on after Max Duggan came in, but somehow in that jumbled up mess of a game, we have not one, but 2 breakout opportunities, one for a linebacker and one just on offense. Let's start with the linebacker, and it is for Earl Stockton. I figured he would be the one to have this, considering he made some plays. Can't say he's made great plays, but he's going to have either 2 combined interceptions, forced fumbles, tackles for loss, or sacks, or the defense in general is going to have to hold this Buccaneers team to less than 200 total yards, which has not been very easy for this team. Offensively, this is going to be for Jonathan Mingo. After seeing Juwan Jennings have such a great game last game, he went over 100 yards, I want to say 1 or 2 touchdowns. We're going to challenge Mingo. We need to see him step up and not just get an occasional grab here and there. We need him to really be one of our starting receivers. We're going to get at least some XP. 2,500 going to Jennings. As for Mingo, the information we actually need, we're going to need 150 plus receiving yards against the Bucs. We're going to have a great passing game for this. But before we even get into game action, there are several things I want to do with this roster before we even get into the game. So first off, we got to start taking a look at these stats. So you kind of get a reason of why I think we need to make these moves that we're making. First off, we are 2nd in the league offensively in terms of yards, just behind the Chiefs. And you go to the actual yardage after some takeaway, we're still 2nd. And it's around 200 yards between us. But we're still picking up more yards than 30 other teams. Yet, we are, at best, an average scoring team. So clearly we're leaving a whole lot out there, and we've got to do a whole lot better. Essentially, it's the turnovers. Turnovers are costing this team. In terms of defense, we are one of the worst in terms of yards given up. We are 6th in the league. So got to do a whole lot better there. In terms of passing yards given up, we are the 3rd worst, and that's by about 130 yards to the Chargers. Rushing yards given up, we are okay, but we're still not great. Slightly below average. Points given up, we are the worst by about 50 points. So we got to do better there. Sacks, we are not doing well at all. Buccaneers, the team we're about to play, they have 24. We have 8. Fumbles, I don't think we've forced a single one. We have maybe 2 interceptions. We're not forcing big enough plays on defense, and we're giving up too many big plays offensively with the turnovers. And that is quite evident in the fact that Bryce Young has 9 interceptions already this year. When Max Duggan has been out there, we've played a lot more cleanly. That's where a little bit of some quarterback controversy is coming in. Bryce Young at times has looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Prior to last game, the game before that, he threw for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was phenomenal, but he just does not carry any consistency. And he struggles also carrying the ball. He's had 5 more fumbles. So he's turned over the ball more than he's put points on the board. As for the receiving game for us, Chuba Hubbard is by far our main guy. He's getting nearly triple the amount of targets, receptions even, over Juwan Jennings, who is our second best receiver. As for Mingo, so far this year, he's only had 11 catches, 156 yards. He essentially wants to double his yardage today. He's also only had 2 touchdowns. Defensively, this is what the big problem is for us. When you take a look at tackles for a loss, Deion Jones, Stockton, Gardner Johnson, Grover Stewart, you have to go way down this list before you even get to who's supposed to be our best defensive player in Derek Brown. Through 6 games already this year, he's recorded 2 tackles. That is it. He's in a contract year, and he's not doing anything for us. On top of that, he has no interest in coming back to this team, and with the play we've gotten from him, we don't really have much interest in keeping him around. And luckily enough, we have a defensive class here who is pretty well developed. It's not necessarily having that key guy that I think would fill the run stopper role, but there are several guys we can place anywhere along this defensive line. We got edge rushers, we have interior rushers. Some guys like Cortland Mincy here out of Oregon look intriguing. He's a round 1 to 2 project. He does have B block shed, A power moves. Depending on how the rest of the season goes, maybe we could even go with a guy like Tim Horn. He's an outside guy, but he has A power moves and finesse, plus B block shedding. Well-rounded talent. If we're looking for that true guy down the middle, though, you actually have to look at the middle. Now, no one is so far jumping off the board here, though do need to keep an eye on Notre Dame's James Castaneda, as he has B to D block shed with B finesse moves, A to C power moves. He's listed as a run stopper. So the fact that there is a B finesse, I'm imagining block shed is going to be a B. Hopefully power moves also B. Given B's across the board, that could be a pretty solid guy to fill in for what could very well be an empty space with Derek Brown's departure. Down the line, when you get into the day 3 categories, you do have guys who are single talent run stoppers. There's Emmett Tatum, who has the B block shed, and John Kellum, who has A to C block shed. He could very well just be a B. It could also just be a C. We're keeping an eye on some of these guys. Another guy to keep an eye on even further down here is Terrell Wagner. Still a day 3 power rusher with B to D for both power rush as well as block shed. So if we could find a dual talent that late, that would be fantastic. But we have a lot of holes on this team, so we're keeping all options open, but it's time to try to find some options now and get some picks. And that first move is going to be Derek Brown. He's our highest overall player, but he's not doing anything for us. And the Patriots, their primary need right now is defensive tackle. He could easily shift there. They have the cap space to take him on, give him a new contract even, and we're asking for a 2, 4, and a 5. So we'll submit that offer, see what they think, and they'll just straight up take it. Right now, that second round pick is top 5 in the second round. The next guy we're trading is a guy just sitting on our roster right now, not doing anything, and that is Miles Sanders. Now we have a very intriguing offer here from the Baltimore Ravens for Isaiah Likely and a current 5th round pick. Now, they obviously have Mark Andrews. They also drafted a tight end, same overall as Likely, so they really don't need him anymore. And that's the one I want to go with. Now, obviously, that leaves us with 4 tight ends, and I do not think we need 4 tight ends. Hayden Hurst is regressing each year, but he's been phenomenal for us. Where we're going to make space at this spot is, unfortunately, Tommy Tremble. He's had some decent games with us this year, but he's in his final year of his contract. He doesn't have any interest again in signing with us. And we have a guy that we drafted that is very similar in terms of his ratings in Jordan Thomas. He's a little bit lower. He's a 69, but still very comparable. Plus, with us getting Likely, he actually has 2 years, including this year, on his contract. So it saves us a little bit of money in the long run. And I plan on trading Tommy Tremble because there was one team I think could use him. So right now, the Dolphins, they have Zach Ertz, he's 33 years old, and they have Durham Smythe. He's 29, so they don't have a tight end currently on roster really for the future. There is Julian Hill, he's 24, 65. I think this would be a pretty good fit for him. So we're not going to ask a lot here for Tommy Tremble, just a 6th round pick, and that will get the deal done. Now, next up, we're going to be moving over to open free agency, where I look to sign some guys from some practice squads, starting here at right end in Dominique Robinson. He's on the older side, 26 years old, out of Miami of Ohio. Essentially, we'll just give him a shot, considering we've struggled so much with one of our outside linebacker spots, get a little bit more competition with him, and hopefully someone will shine. The second guy I'm going to go with is Darius Rush. At corner, he's a 70 overall normal dev, 24 years old, in his 2nd season out of South Carolina. He has pretty even cover ability, 72 man, 70 zone. He has press. He does not have tackling. He's an outside corner, and we've had a lot of issues on the outside corner spot. So we're going to bring in a little bit more competition. And now with all of those changes finally all done, this is what the new starting lineup looks like. Offense, for the most part, is the same, though we do have to start Zavala today because Austin Corbett is out with an injury. He's going to be out the next 3 weeks. Everything else pretty much stays the same. Defensively, that's where we see a little bit more of a change. Tristan Hill and Shai Tuttle are now both in the starting lineup with Grover Stewart down the middle. This opens up some play from some of our developing young guys pretty much right down the middle in Sweat. There is Ika as well as Route. Route's going to be the primary backup for both the left and right outside. We also have Dwumafor, and maybe we'll get a little bit of Ika out there. We will see. Stockton is the primary starting middle linebacker 1. We still have Deion Jones. He's going to be out there still a little bit more than Hodgins, but we do need to get him out there a good bit more. And again, I have a plan for that as well. We're giving the start still to DJ Johnson. He's the only one who's recorded stats in every single game he's started. We're going to give Robinson a start over Wanham because Wanham really hasn't produced all too much. The cornerback group is looking similar but a little bit different. Rush is the next guy up off the bench. If we see Fuller continue to struggle like he did last game, Rush is going to come straight out there. Now, where we're going to be playing with things a little bit is kind of running really a multiple defense. If they're coming out in a 2 tight end, 2 receiver set, we aren't going to necessarily stick with the same lineup we've seen, which is a 3-4. We're going to try switching to a 4-3, so it'll open things up a little bit, maybe some better run stopping, and we'll get all of these 3 top linebackers out there, and hopefully that would also get Hodgins developing, as he is a hidden dev and he hasn't gotten any snaps. Cash is still the primary slot corner for us with Crowley backing him up. Oliver, this is the highest he's on the depth chart, is 3rd slot corner because he's just been awful. Receiver, we do not have Chenault Jr. for this one. He is also out with a practice injury. He'll be back next week. So Marshall's given a shot. We'll see what he could do. Everything else is the same. So with all of those changes, it's time to get into our second game of this season against the Buccaneers. First one did not go very well. They have fantastic trenches. That's been our downfall. We've got to find a way around it. Mingo wants the ball, so we got to get the ball out quick to the outside and see what these receivers and see what kind of game, just in general, we're going to get from Bryce Young. Let's get this division game underway as Hecker boots us off. They got Sheldon back to return, and he will take the knee. Ryan Tannehill and this Bucs offense headed out starting at the 25. Now, this was an offense that we very much struggled in stopping White. He had a really good game. We did decently well at times in stopping the receivers, as the tackling a little bit better there, holding them to a gain of 4. That's been another one of the issues with this defense, is just getting secure tackles. Got to make sure we limit the yards after the catch, after the handoff, after whatever. Limit them as we bump them out with a first down up to the 40. But in general, we're just looking for some of these young guys to take hold of the opportunity they have presented to them and develop, make some big plays, be tight in coverage would definitely help. Sidney Brown not tight enough there in man. They pick up another 8. I think the biggest problem that you could see in a stat with this defense right now is our leading sacker is slot corner Cash. That's just how bad it's been. We've added a new guy. Hopefully he makes the play as Cash makes the play there, bringing up our first 3rd down. And although they spread wide, we're playing a little bit more safe here for a run. We bring out the 44 defense, though they do set up a pass, and it's wide open to the outside. Russell Gage isn't going to have as easy of a first down as that. We've been gouged too much on running plays. Obviously, we're trying to limit that as they go with a toss to the outside. They had some lead blockers, but they leave Deion Jones untouched. Slows him down just to gain a 4. Obviously talked about wanting to run a little bit more of some 4-3, but we haven't been given the opportunity yet. A lot of nickel sets as I believe the left guard moved. So we'll definitely take that. Essentially works as a tackle for a loss on first down, makes it 2nd and 11. They then spread wide. Got 2 options to the outside. They get to the outside. Gage gets popped, makes it 3rd and 2. Now, last game, we allowed Sam Howell to look absolutely phenomenal. I want to say only 2 incomplete passes. So far, Tannehill has started 4 of 4, make it 4 of 5. We need better play on the outside. Though it's not all up to our corners. We need better defensive line plays. This is our first play running the 4-3, and they get it out rather quickly to, I want to say it said Holiday. One of their backup tight ends picks up about 9.5. So at least a little different play from what we saw last game against the Commanders. This time around, it's been dink and dunk the whole way rather than giving up the big pop plays. As it's 2nd and inches, everyone's covered. Defensive line's got to hit home. Instead, no, Tannehill will slide down inside the 5. Coverage worked perfectly fine that go around. You just got to hit home eventually, and Horn maybe cover. Instead, it's going to be a touchdown. Chris Godwin ends their drive and takes a lead. But we know the true strength of this team is on offense, as Steve Smith Sr. giving Young a little bit of a pep talk heading out after he got benched in his breakout opportunity. We just need to see a whole lot more, and some blocking up front would go a long way. And that wasn't even on the backup right guard who had to step in. That was on our starting left guard in Christensen that he just got blown by. So we need better plays. We go out to Hubbard, who's been our star player, leading receiver, makes it 3rd and 11. Now obviously Mingo was wanting to have a big game today. He struggled to get open, and then might have to be through 3 different cover guys here. It is 3rd and long as we swing this one out for Marshall, who gets the catch, springing to the outside. He's close to around the 47 before he gets dragged down. And in a way, it's also a breakout opportunity for Marshall, who's just been buried on the depth chart. Injuries opened it up for him. As we go to Hubbard here, who will pick up and keep moving those legs. We'll pick up 8. You know, the ratings don't show that he has a lot of break tackle, but what we see on the field is really he just doesn't give up. Though we do send him off the field on this one, as Akers barely picks up the first. It's kind of what he seemingly does best here, near opposite of our Rams franchise, where he was the offense, just as Hubbard has been here. Looking for a little bit of some play action. We got Hurst going across, and it's off the shoulder of Jennings instead. So definitely not great awareness there from the receiver, nor accuracy from Young. Need a play here to get us at least some amount of yards, make it a more manageable 3rd down, as Young is just going to step up and get down. We'll pick up 5. And after going for that run, he'll have a little bit extra time to recover. He's taken a lot of hits this year. I think most of Young's problems has been due to stamina. So if we could keep him clean, keep the hits from coming, maybe we'll have some better play. Some of the best games we've seen from him, he's not taking the hits. As we swing it out, it's going to be Hayden Hurst down to around the 25. Need to make sure he's not feeling threatened with us bringing in Isaiah Likely. Just felt like it would be a good switch, basically, between Tommy Tremble. Both of pretty athletic style, as we barely get that one out to Hayden Hurst. It was an accurate throw under pressure. Feel like we spend a good amount of time really nitpicking Young. So on plays like that, we need to give him his well-earned dues. As we go with some more play action, right across the middle, it's tossed up for Jennings as he brings it in. A lot of those plays has gone the opposite way of late. But not that time. We get the jump ball, and now we have Mingo loaned to the left side. If we could suck down the outside corner with Likely, open things up for Mingo. It's covered pretty well. As we roll, we had an option. Instead, we throw it out of the back of the end zone, but barely. Now, we've really been trying to spread out this Tampa Bay defense. They do spread wide here to match our wide. Can we get some blocks? That answer would be a big no. Chuba Hubbard, well, that play worked out pretty well earlier on this season. Teams, they're catching on to it. I actually want Hubbard to go on a deeper in route here. Try to draw things open for Mingo. As he does get the step, it's placed well, and it will be a touchdown for Jonathan Mingo. He wanted 150 yards. Some touchdowns could help. Well, he got the touchdown. He got a catch. Hopefully that's sending him well on his way as we finally level this game up. Our first drive here ending in points feels good. Did it take a while? Yes, but hopefully that just provided some extra time to get this defense sorted and match more of what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did on their first drive. As they're out for their second, they start with a quick throw, and Sidney Brown hopefully just got a hand on that, or we get lucky and the tight end drops it. Either or feels a little bit like a win. Bringing up second and 10 as they got a bunch to the right-hand side. Going with some play action. Tannehill has some crossing routes. Trying to work open downfield. Instead, it looks to be more of a throwaway. So after giving up 7 of 7 passing last drive, we start 0-2 here. Gotta love it. That's a good step. Just need to finish it here on third down. As I have a couple crossing routes to go to the outside. It's White who spins but does not pick up the first. Stockton, the rookie, there to save the day. Now we just got to see if we can get Mingo going a little bit more in this one. He had the one catch, 13 yards and a touchdown. But we're going to need a little bit more than just that. As we swing it out, we get it too Likely. His first catch, and Bryce Young. First time he took a hit today, he is down. Frustrated at the sideline, at least that shows a good sign. He might make a return. And I'm sure some of the frustration just has to be with the offensive line that is not keeping him clean time and time again. As it's Dugan out there, his first throw is nearly picked off. Though we know that this offense can still run as it normally does with Dugan. He's done pretty well with almost every opportunity we've given to him. As he lofts this one out, it's Hayden Hurst picking up another first down for us and getting gang tackled up at the 44. But early indications are it's a hand injury for Young. So he's had a variety of different injuries this year. It's not all just one thing. As Dugan checks this one down, it's Hayden Hurst shucking off Barrett, hurdling over him because why not? It's a gain of 8. Obviously, we were wanting to get the ball to Mingo. Haven't been able to do that yet, but also a win would be pretty great for us just to boost some morale here as we pick up the first down, going to Chuba Hubbard. And honestly, he's a running back, but he's much more than a running back. He's very much fits the mold of Christian McCaffrey here. Obviously not the same talent as we have a wide open receiver to the left-hand side. It's Isaiah Oliver, but it's too far to the left. Though, in a way, I appreciate how far to the left it was. It was thrown well away from the inside defenders, leaving us here with a second and 10 as we spread wide. And we're just going to sprint right down the middle here. Dugan will get down, just picking up the first. Honestly, it nearly feels like we run a 2-quarterback system here. As we come out still spread wide, and Mingo is getting double covered over on the right-hand side. It's a corner and safety stack as he does beat one, and that throw is not going to be playable. But that's really where we reach our limitations with Dugan. And after seeing that throw, Bryce Young says, "Get off the field. I'm headed back out." He takes over at the 33, so he let him do most of the work. As he takes a hit the first play, he was back and Marshall was open. Just need better from this offensive line. Obviously, it's even worse today than normal due to the fact that we had the injury to the starting right guard, but we need more. We need more. As Marshall does not hold on for the first. It was a well-placed ball from Young. And no one to blame on that one but Marshall. Don't know why his hands are up. But we'll send out Ford to take the lead here with a field goal. Though that one looked awkward off the foot, and it doesn't even reach the goalpost. Ford has all the power in the world, but something went wrong there. Maybe the laces were not out. Either way, the Bucks take over. This game's still tied as they swing it out. Cash just gets ran by, didn't even get close to making a tackle, or attempting. Will at least carry us to the 2-minute warning. The game level right now, 7-7. And that's primarily coming off of just an awful field goal attempt. It should have been an easy one there for Ford. Don't know what happened. We'll have to take a look at the tape later on as they go across the middle, and it's going to be caught by Deion Jones and then dragged down at the 30 by, I want to say, his group of players. Though Sidney Brown, the one most recognized there. As it's 1st and 10, they are down to the 30. Well in field goal range. Rocking a bunch to the left-hand side. They're going with that flood concept, essentially. Send everyone to one side. It's worked out pretty well for them so far. They're down inside the red zone. And they're definitely not running any heavy sets in this one. Closest we get to a heavy set is the bunch look. As they spread wide, go to the end zone, but it's a bad throw from Tannehill. Lands out of bounds. Now, one thing to note so far, haven't seen any rush from Robinson or Johnson. We need better play from our edge guys, as that one is going to be a touchdown after Fuller forgot how to tackle. The veteran just blew by him. With 1:10 on the clock and 3 timeouts, can Bryce Young lead us to some points here before half? Try to draw this thing a little bit closer. Where we're going to have Hayden Hurst, who was open slightly. Would have took a better throw. But it was one that was pretty close. Just needed that a little bit taller. It only wastes 4 seconds, though, so not too shabby. As Young looking to step up here, avoid losing yards, he picks up 4. Remembering back to the previous matchup against the Bucks, that was the issue. They really took away the scrambling. Anytime we would try to get through the line, they were pretty quick to get there. As we do find Isaiah Likely with a first down, bumped out up at the 37, but we're under 30 seconds left. So we really need to find some chunk plays here if we want to at least get into field goal range, though clearly that one didn't work all too well for us last time. As this one's thrown out for Hubbard into double coverage. Young was clearly staring down his top target on that one. Hubbard heads to the sideline, so don't have to worry about that here as we stay spread to either side. Look for Mingo on the out route. It was nearly jumped for a touchdown. We'll say that has been a fair often occurrence here from Young. Just the passes are just too low. As we get the halfback screen out, we need some blocking, and we're not going to quite get it. And we don't even have to call the timeout. The Bucks call a timeout. We're at the 44. I don't know if the Bucks forgot to watch their tape, but short yardage is really what we do. 4th and 3. We go across the middle. It will be Jordan Thomas, the rookie, with a first down. We're at the 48. We got 9 seconds left. Now we have a extremely strong leg in Ford. Obviously, we didn't get to see it much last time. So if we could get a decent run here from Hubbard, who will definitely get us into field goal range. Let this one tick down to 1 or 2, apparently. Call the timeout. We'll send out Ford. It's obviously not exactly what we were hoping for. Touchdown would have been better, but we will take points. As this one looks to be much more powerful. Could make that from another 10 yards back. We'll draw at least a little bit closer going into halftime. We make it 14-10. We left some things out there, but the defense, honestly, not too bad. Only giving up 14 in that first half is a far improvement over what we saw in the second quarter of last week, where I believe we gave up 21 alone. So the changes may be helping out a little bit, but let's see what's happening around the league. Bengals taking on the Browns in the Battle of Ohio, and it is the Browns on top going into halftime, 24-14. Browns 2-5, Bengals 4-3. Joe Burrow did have a touchdown and an interception in that first half. As for the Bears, they're hosting the Rams and are up 14-3. Both teams obviously not doing too well, 2-4, 1-5. Lastly, we have a little bit to the east, the Lions hosting the Colts. It's the Colts up 14-0. Both teams, unlike the others, doing well. Colts 6-1, Lions 4-2. But as we get back to our game, we are starting on offense. A fantastic opportunity to try to get some points and maybe try to go a little bit more to Mingo. He only had that one catch, I believe, though was targeted a little bit more, and he's wide open this time and shoved out at midfield. A nice pop play. Play one goes for 25. The problem, though, even on a play like that, we still took a hit. Young still took a hit. Gotta find a way to keep him clean. We just need the ball to get out a lot quicker. As Hubbard fumbles it, the ball, I believe, does get recovered by Winfield Jr. Stripped out by Carlos Davis, and that is exactly what we saw with the stats pre-game, where the offense is racking up yards. We're just not finishing our drives and getting points, as he breaks 3 tackles. I want to say that's Holiday, their tight end. Honestly, at this point, I don't think there is any tackling drills at all in practice with how bad of tackling we see, though Stockton, he puts the hit in there on White. And we're really hoping that we could see some big plays from guys like Stockton to round out this season. We need the young guys to really start developing, get some big plays as they swing this one out. Russell Gage not spinning off that tackle will be a short gain. And with a 3rd and 6, a stop here could be pretty big for us. They're not flooding the field. Coverage is working well as Tristan Hill forces the throwaway. That's the best pass rush we've seen today. Now, do they send out the field goal unit? Indeed, they will. Looks like kicker is Carson. They're kicking at the 44, making a 54-yarder, and that one's going left. No shot. You can see that from the beginning of that kick. So, fortunately for us, the fumble from Hubbard does not cost us anything, just some time, as we're right back out here looking for a play. Sidearm gets it to Likely, and he will get forward for a gain of 6. He's honestly gotten more targets, I believe, than Mingo, and Mingo's the one with a breakout opportunity. He just hasn't gotten himself open, as we do find Jordan Thomas picking up a nice block from Jennings. The speed, not enough to get away, but we're down to the 22. And it's just those little glimpses from him as the reason why we are leaning, even keeping him. Maybe he becomes that second tight end, and Likely maybe becomes the first. All depends on the regression of Hayden Hurst. As we have a guy coming across, that's going to be brought in, spinning off, breaking another tackle, trying to find a way around. Instead, he runs out of bounds at the 10. But what a play from Juwan Jennings. He seemed determined there. Unfortunately, just couldn't quite get into the end zone. Has an opportunity here, though, as Mingo does get the step, though the ball is bad, but no problem for Mingo. It's 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, the goal for him was not touchdowns. He needs the yards, but we find ourselves in front. And I'm sure Young appreciates that. Not too often he's the one getting bailed out. As the Buccaneers head out, they're now down 17-14 for their first original start, I would say, of this second half, as they are going to start it off pretty well with a gain of 25 themselves up to midfield. You know, kind of vibing off of what we talked about with Derek Brown, how he was just greatly underperforming. JC Horn has done the same exact thing. He really hasn't done anything, though he gets at least stuck in on that stop. However, coverage-wise, he has not been very good. And I can't say we've gone up against too many top-end guys, though in this game we definitely are going up against 2 top-end guys. And doing a, I would say, fairly decent job as they flood one side. It's Holiday once again getting a block from Gage, and they're down to the 27. We've only forced 4 incomplete passes today. We've just got to be able to get our hands stuck in a little bit better on these as they go with the quick RPO option out to Evans, and after he gains 5, he's a little bit shaken up. He's able to get off the field under his own power, but just looked a bit upset there when he reached the sidelines. Don't imagine it's going to be a big injury in that case as they go with the same exact play and they get another 5-6 yards. Godwin picks up the first. I'll say so far not seeing a vast improvement from when we come out in the 4-3 versus the 3-4, though we do get a stop there, and that was Sweat, the rookie. And that was one of the reasons that we really decided to make that trade with Derek Brown instead of giving him some more time. We got so many young guys, some hidden dev guys down here. We got to see what they could do, as that's a good tackle, Sidney Brown. Last time we played against the Bucs, White was well over 100 yards. 7 carries, 10 yards in this one, a vast improvement, though it's 3rd and 9. And once again, they have all the time, but Tannehill panics, throws it out the back. 4th and 9, field goal unit to tie the game. That's at least if Carson can hit this one. We missed our first, we hit the second. It's a much easier one here for Carson, and he will go right down the middle. We had a tied game once again, 17-17. As our offense heads out here, I would like to have a smooth drive. As Hubbard bounces to the outside, going to pick up at least a first down, a gain of near 15. Only his fourth rush, 38 yards. Though he's touched the ball a lot more than just the handoffs. He's gotten involved primarily through the air, as he does in most games. Try to follow some blocks, but Christensen doesn't quite get to that second level quick enough. But just trying to run a couple different plays here to start the drive, shake up the Tampa Bay defense a little bit, see if we could open some things up. As Marshall coming across, great coverage there from White. If we were able to throw that maybe a second earlier, it's a first down. A split second later, it's a pick. And the last time, I'm pretty sure he had a pick 6 against us. As there's no time to throw, it's a double sack, and Bryce Young looks a little bit wobbly once again out there. You know, you hear stories all the time about quarterbacks buying their offensive linemen go-karts or golf carts or watches, steaks. I don't think Bryce Young is going to do that with this offensive line, as there's a great stop. It is Robinson. Well, at least it's not yet another edge guy that we give a start and he doesn't record a single stat. He at least gets the tackle there, maybe even tackle for loss. Either way, we're heading into the fourth. And it's essentially do or die here, a whole new ball game, but it's just one quarter of play as we're still tied 17-17. Good job there from Stockton. He read that the whole way. I can't say he's had a tackle for a loss in this one, or two even, but he's played a pretty good game today, looking more like that field general guy that we need. And can Jones please just swat at the ball? He's had at least one, if not two, opportunities in the last 3 games, including this game, to swat a ball away and force a punt, and he continually does not do that as Stockton's there to break that one up. But right now, Stockton, his stock is rising, pun intended. Jones, his is falling, and we very well might be switching him out soon for that other rookie linebacker to see what he can do. As Horn gets the stop on the outside, we got another third down. And with this distance, I don't think it's field goal range for them. They need a first down. They need 3 yards. As once again, they flood one side as we get the hit there at the end. It's Tristan Hill once again. And they do decide to punt, but it was one hell of a punt as we're down to the 2. A lot of field to go, a lot of time we could waste, but we need some points at the end of this one. And I feel like this playbook dramatically lacks some RPOs. Might have to start going with a custom playbook soon, as Akers breaks a tackle there. A key one breaks a second and picks up a first. One of his best runs in a Panthers uniform. Just needed him to buy us a little bit of some space, and at first it didn't look all too good, but he made it look good there late. Looking for this screen, and Vita Vea slaps it down. Also, you could probably tell Bryce Young is out there. He's fighting through some pain, as he always does. I will say the guy does not have quit in him. As he takes another hit, this time it's Vita Vea. That's at least one thing. We haven't let Vita Vea get here all too often, though. He is in his X factor, 3rd and 11. We spread wide, got 3 to the left, 1 to the right-hand side. Hard count, no one jumps. Let's change the route here from Mingo. I want just a straight out route at the line to gain. See what he could open up here for us. Instead, it's gonna luckily not be picked. That would have been a pick 6. Forced it. We're gonna have to punt. We've been getting pretty lucky late on in this one, as it's 1st and 10 for the Buccaneers offense. They do make a check here. Send 2 to the right-hand side. They got 1 off to the left-hand side in Mike Evans. As they once again try to open up underneath, it's Godwin getting flipped by Stockton. It's a gain of 6. And Godwin clearly frustrated with that hit. I'm sure we'll be getting a FedEx package shortly. But it's 2nd and 4. We got a game to finish. As they hand it off, White, he will get close to, leaving 3rd and 1. Well, the run game has not been all too promising for them. I imagine they throw, and they will. And they have an easy open target. It is Russell Gage with a first down to the 32. Well, defense, are you going to make the big play? We have struggled getting sacks and turnovers. We could use some of those here late on. As they swing it out to White, he is not going to get by the gang tackle there, the linebackers, plus Horn. We'll say Tannehill, for the most part today, has been pretty conservative in his throws. And once again got the bunch to the left-hand side as they go with a toss. It's red from Jones. Bringing up 3rd and 12. We call a timeout there. We've got to have it here. 3rd and 12. They're at the 34. I wouldn't say it's even a gimme field goal for them at this point, as they're sending some guys a couple different ways. Cash bites in, and he does not get... He actually got ran by, but Tannehill throws it out. Once again, extremely lucky as they're kicking this one from about the 42. It's a 52-yarder. Carson has the power, and he has the accuracy. So with a little less than 2 minutes, 2 timeouts, we need at least a field goal to tie this game. We start back at the 21 with our tight shotgun look here. Having to roll. We have Chuba Hubbard throw it to the side, and it's another drop from Neal. Young just does not have the arm strength for that. We've got to remember that we've gotten lucky too many times on that. Got a couple corner routes, though, that might open up a little bit better here for us. Jennings, that time it's placed well, and we got to chunk up. No, we don't got to chunk. They say he didn't get both feet in? I don't know how that one was not caught. Jennings, you've got to do better than that. We'll switch it instead, going Mingo's way. Hubbard also underneath. Though everyone covered, we just chuck it out, and that's the problem when you just chuck it out. It gets picked by Davis. We only got 2 timeouts, and they're in field goal range. At least one thing to say there from Young. No one was open at all, and once again, pass rush was hitting home. As they go with a run, it's White to the outside. He has some space as he will pick up a first. Can't say the defense didn't do well in this one. They definitely kept us in it. Offense just could not score. As we're under a minute here, they hand it off White with space, and they get the tackle at the 11. And from there, they will just start to kneel out the clock. It will inevitably be a sweep here by the Bucks. It's a closer one this time, but it's another game in which we could have very well handily moved our way downfield, got the points, but in the 4th quarter, the offense just did not do a thing. We got lucky time and time again. Several interceptions should have been had. Young and the receiving group just couldn't make it happen. But is there at least anything good here for Stockton? And as expected, no, he didn't get the stats that we needed, but I still felt like he was the most impactful middle linebacker in that game. And of course, we know Mingo definitely didn't get what he needed done. He did have 2 touchdowns, but that was pretty much his only catches in that game. He just struggles to get open, and we've got to find a way to get him going for sure. And while it was obviously disappointing we lost that game, it was at least a pretty decent bounce back. If we just look at our own stats, Bryce Young had a better game today than he did in the previous, though it very much could have flipped to the opposite if Neal wasn't dropping all the interceptions. So it wasn't a great game. He dealt with a lot of injury, and it really comes down to this offensive line. Unfortunately, Madden doesn't really keep track of stats very well. Obviously, we know that there was a lot more sacks than 2 or hits, just in general. Wish there was some more stats to go off of, but Bozeman is a problem. And we got to find some way to keep our quarterback healthy. Otherwise, he's not going to have a very long career. As for our defense today, though, they did play a much better game. Deion Jones did lead us in tackles despite missing a lot of opportunity. And Horn had 2 tackles for loss. Our corners should not be leading us in tackles for loss or sacks. That has got to change. We at least still got a tackle for loss from Jones and Tristan Hill. We did not get one from Stockton, though he did have 5 tackles. He was flying around. No sacks, obviously no interceptions. As for Robinson, in his first game, he had 4 tackles, so he was at least getting stuck in. Did he play better than Wanham? I can't say he did, because Wanham at least will generate a pressure or 2 a game. We just didn't see that from Robinson. But we still have a full half of a season to go. We have the bye week in between today's game and the Saints game. Saints are 0-6, so that's really going to be a battle for bottom of the division, and who knows, maybe we kind of do something similar to what we did with Season 3 of the Michigan State-Only Challenge, in which we tried to develop a lot of players, get them good XP, get some good play from them, but still try to lose games, and then we can make sure we have a pretty good draft pick and have our say of who's who. At this point, the worst team in the league is the Saints. They are 0-6. There are 2 one-win teams in the Texans and Bears. Bears slightly better because they've only lost 5. Then you have the Vikings 2-5, and then us at 2-6. Somehow we are still better, though, than a couple of these teams, probably because we haven't played through the next week, but still we're looking pretty good for at least playing in for a top 5 pick. And with how much rebuilding this team has to do, it's kind of a good thing. Still like to see some good play, see some guys develop, and we might have a really good game next time against the Saints, or it's going to be 62-10. We'll find out, and you will find out if you stick around. Hit that bell icon on the bottom right, or scroll down, hit the sub button so you do not miss out on this series or the state-only challenge. This series every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, with the state-only challenge, again, currently Michigan every Wednesday and Saturday. Though that one might be coming to an end soon as we're entering season 5 in Saturday's episode. That is the final season. If we don't make the playoffs, then it's donezo on Saturday. So a lot riding there. Do not miss that one, and do not miss out on our first game against the Saints this year next time. Hit that bell icon so you're notified, and we will see you later.